June is upon us, so the sun will be shining as we stay indoors playing video games.
Yes.
Mike is here with me.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you all about some of the cool games that are coming out in June. Here are they. Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr is not just the longest name for a game ever, but also an action RPG out this month. With a top-down camera and classic magic, ranged and melee fighting styles in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, there should be plenty here for Warhammer fans to get stuck into. Warhammer is one of those fictional universes that I've never really delved into too much.
Well, that's the thing, right? So I like the idea of it. I like the concept of this far-flung future where there is only war or whatever the tagline is.
And hammers.
But I am not into it enough to do all the board game stuff. So when a video game comes along based in the universe, I'm like, well, this might be a good sort of jumping on point to experience that kind of sci-fi world and stuff. So
cheaper too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those little models ain't cheap.
And all the paints.
It's not polite to rock up to the Games Workshop with
unpainted
ones.
Space Marines,
Get chased out of town.
So yeah, this sounds kind of fun. Sounds kind of Diablo-y, sort of a looty action RPG type thing. Yeah, happy to have a crack at it. Sounds good.
We'll give it a go. As big fans of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, we've been keeping an eye on upcoming role-playing game Vampyr with a Y. As doctor-turned-vampire with a trendy haircut Jonathan Reed, you must choose who lives and dies as you feed on your flock of humans to level up, all set in London during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. Mike, surely you're quite pumped for this.
I'm pretty excited.
VTMBTVBM or whatever Vampire
That's
the
the correct one.
Masquerade
Yep, that was it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this. The guys who developed it are guys who made a game called Remember Me, and it wasn't particularly well remembered, but it was actually pretty decent, looked quite pretty and things. So I'm really looking forward to this kind of branching storyline, vampire story set in a period of time that doesn't get a lot of airing in video games, you know, kind of 1918. And I also like the idea of, because you're a doctor and you're sort of struggling with maintaining your kind of humanity, but also feeding off your flock of humans to sort of to buff your powers and things like that. So it's going to become a balance and kind of, I think moral decisions are going to come into it, and so I'm really looking forward to this.
I think moral decisions pretty much out the window, aren't they, when you've created a flock of humans?
Well, I think, you know, to be honest, apparently you can kind of just sort of look after them as well. It sounds like it's going to be a really interesting sort of balance.
Okay.
I think at some point you are going to have to munch on neck.
It's a sort of like Wagyu beef.
Yeah, exactly.
Of humans.
They're really well treated.
Yeah,
you feed them beer, you massage their muscles, but then you do eventually eat them and they're delicious.
Eventually drain them dry. Back in 2014, legendary basketball player Shaquille O'Neal was fed up with the fact that the 2D 90s video game with his name on it, Shaq Fu, wasn't very good. So he launched an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign for the brand new brawler, Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn. And now it's here.
Far be it from me to criticise Shaq, but
very far.
He's quite tall and quite big.
Well, I think you can slam dunk better than Mike.
I can dunk on Shaq. Yeah. I feel like maybe
it's a challenge to you, Shaq, if you're watching.
I'm slightly worried that he may be maybe being a bit hopeful in hoping that this is going to be a good game as well. But maybe it'll be decent. Maybe it'll be decent.
It could be.
The first one was quite bad. He's correct there. He's appraised the first one well. It was a bad game.
It looks sort of colourful and wacky and sort of has a glimmer of promise.
Yeah, it'll probably be a good laugh. I don't think it's going to be super memorable.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a popcorn game, you know, you play it for a bit and then be like, oh, that was fun. On to the next thing.
I personally enjoy how very little it has to do with basketball.
Yes, well that's the best thing because I don't
fun.
really like basketball.
In the latest expansion to the Elder Scrolls Online's world of Tamriel, the Summerset Isles opens its doors or shores for the first time since the Elder Scrolls Arena. It's been spruced up a bit since its first appearance, and now you can explore the scenic islands and learn all about the homeland of the High Elves. So we played this a little bit, haven't we, Mike?
Yeah, we have. It was pretty.
It was pretty,
so
yeah. I think if you are into Elder Scrolls Online, and there are a lot of people out there who are, this feels like a pretty decent expansion just because I think it's going to offer a really new kind of environmental aesthetic, which is always what I look for in these kind of expansions. In my World of Warcraft days, I was always really interested in just like what's the new like look and feel of the new expansion, and this one is
very high fantasy,
very high
Council
fantasy.
of Elrond, all that kind of stuff.
It's gone maximum Rivendell. We've turned the Elrond up to 1,000.
I really like Tezo, and I wish I had a bit more time to play it, to be honest. But it seems like a really substantial add-on. There's a lot going on, not just on that kind of surface level and the kind of landscape and the sort of autumnal colours and the beautiful castles and stuff, but apparently it kind of delves down underground as well, so there's a bunch more stuff going on underground too. So yeah, and it's free to play. It plays these days quite a lot like a sort of, a standard Elder Scrolls game. Obviously there are some compromises because it's an MMO, but not as many compromises as you might think. And there's a story and there's voiced characters and things like that.
Yeah, we talked about it on Show of the Weekend a few weeks ago because I was playing a little bit and I was very surprised at how accessible it was.
Yeah, super straightforward to get into.
Yeah, so worth a shot. Have you ever wanted to open a theme park filled with dinosaurs? The answer is yes, because literally everyone has. Jurassic Park Evolution might not be a real park where you can really get stamped on by a T-Rex, but it's the next best thing. Build your own Jurassic World and try to make the most successful park possible. Cannot wait.
I know, I can tell.
I cannot wait.
I'm just going to let you go.
Oh man, I'm absolutely itching. On the one hand, I'm very, very excited because from what I've seen of the trailers, the dinosaurs are really beautifully animated. I love the idea that they will behave in a sort of random and unpredictable way. So while you're kind of like managing something over on this side of the park,
life will be finding a way.
Oh no, life found a way! Quick, get it back in its box of impossible management of nature. On the other hand, as a big dinosaur nerd, there's some stuff that I'm a bit more nervous about. Like I've read some stuff about like creating new kinds of dinosaurs.
Oh, like a hybrid that can turn invisible or something.
I know, and all that kind of stuff is the stuff that really drives me crazy about Jurassic World as opposed to Jurassic Park. But I suspect that is the kind of fiddling in the margins, nitty-gritty dinosaur nerdery that not everyone will be concerned with. If this is just a good like sim game that happens to have beautifully rendered dinosaurs in it, then I would count that as a massive, massive win.
But what are you going to say when the suits come up to you and say, Luke, your park's pretty good, but all these OG dinosaurs just aren't cutting it with the kids anymore. We need an invisible helicopter dinosaur.
Well, if that happens, I'll simply pump more money into advertising the dinosaurs I've got. How can T-Rex not be enough? Like, T-Rex is enough for me. And it's not even alive anymore.
Right.
Imagine.
But every time I hear a new piece of research about T-Rex, it's making it less terrifying and more ridiculous.
No,
wasn't the latest one that its legs would snap if it tried to run or something?
Yeah, it probably couldn't run. It also couldn't roar.
What did it do? Quack.
The latest thinking actually is that it made like a sort of low humming noise, like. But I think that's great. The thing is, okay, right, fine. You know what? I can make this short. So the great thing about Jurassic Park was that it actually took contemporary dinosaur research of the time and made a film about what people then thought, really thought, dinosaurs were like, and they were scary because they're gigantic and they will kill you, and all the rest. Jurassic World has the opportunity now to do that again with like the latest, much more up-to-date thinking on dinosaurs, which is quite different.
Is that they're much less cool?
It's not that they're less cool.
I suspect what they'll do is go with the old thinking where they're really cool.
No, but when there's a big Hollywood movie with a feathered T-Rex going, then people will see that can be and is just as terrifying and just as exciting. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's why Jurassic World is back.
Fruit is nature's sweets.
In The Crew 2, the massive open world racer gets even more vehicles than ever before. Now players can hoon their way across an abridged version of the entire United States in a Formula 1 car, just like you always wanted. Not only this, but races are now also open to boats and planes, and you can switch between them on the fly, pun most definitely intended, as you zoom around. How do you feel about The Crew 2, Mike?
Pretty excited, actually. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, just because the map was so amazing. It was the perfect scale. The original Crew was the perfect scale in that the cities were just big enough to feel like the actual places, convincingly. Yeah. And the distance between the cities was just long enough that it felt like a road trip.
Right, okay.
So it's going to be really cool to see that map then opened up for planes and boats and also hovercrafts, and they've put monster trucks back in, which they added previously. And all sorts of other bizarre sort of vehicles and stuff, including like Formula 1 cars, which gets me very excited indeed. It kind of takes that kind of Need for Speed style, slightly arcadey handling. Everything's like plausible, but with a kind of arcadey sort of drifty feel to it.
Okay.
And I think it's just a great game for exploring. I mean, one of the funny things when we were playing it was there's a photo mode that was trying to get you to find a stag or something and take a photo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like a Bambi. Oh, it's not a stag, but it's good. But it is a deer.
So I think it's just going to be a fun place to tool around in, and obviously it's always online and you can play it co-op with your friends and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a fun sort of social experience.
Cool, fingers crossed. The much-loved LEGO games are colliding with the world of Pixar. In LEGO The Incredibles, you play as our favourite crime-fighting family, aside from Jim and Barbara Gordon. The game retells the stories of the films Incredibles and the upcoming Incredibles 2, with each incredible character equipped with unique abilities to help them get through the levels and a few walls. LEGO Incredibles! Yeah! This seems quite fun.
I mean, LEGO games are always a baseline level of fun, aren't they?
Yeah,
they never dip below that good, solid foundation of fun.
Exactly. They rarely sort of peak above as well, like a kind of like must-play sort of level.
Yeah.
But I think what will help this one is that The Incredibles 2 is coming out. Pixar tends to make good films. The Incredibles was brilliant. Incredibles 2 looks really good. So I think the strength of those characters is quite strong. I'm more excited to play this than I was to play other recent LEGO games, like the Marvel Heroes one, which just had so many heroes and some of them you knew so little about. I don't know. I think I would rather
sort
play
of core team.
Yeah, a core team who I know quite strongly from the
But
movie.
isn't one of the things though is having just unlockable characters and stuff? Are there enough characters in the Incredibles universe that it will feel like a substantial amount to unlock?
I think there will be. We don't know a whole lot about how many unlockable characters there will be yet, but I just have a feeling that I'm sure that they'll get all the unlockable characters they possibly can. And you know, there are quite a few mentioned in The Incredibles, and I'm sure the second film will add a bunch of new characters. So I think there'll be enough. Publisher Bethesda continues to stick its newer games onto the Nintendo Switch with Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Jump into an alternate history where the Nazis won World War II and hero William B.J. Blazkowicz isn't too happy about it. The game first arrived on consoles on the same day as Super Mario Odyssey, so Switch owners could easily have overlooked it, but we think this frenetic first-person shooter deserves some love. Did you finish the new Colossus?
I did not finish it, but I am part-way through it and
really?
thoroughly enjoying it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I am amazed at what Bethesda has been able to pull off on the Switch hardware. Like Doom looked brilliant.
Oh yes, brilliant.
And if they can get this game to a sort of playable, state that is somewhat representative of what it's like on Xbox One.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
The thing I really enjoy about the new Colossus actually is that the gameplay is very, very slick and it's fun and gory and it feels quite Doom-like to play. But then it's intercut with these really, really brilliant cutscenes. Really, really well acted and very, very gripping and just
super character-led.
So character-led and very, very well written in a story that is much more compelling than I thought it would be, and I think that has a lot more heart and is a lot less pulpy than the subject matter implies.
Absolutely. I think if you're one of the people who's lamenting the lack of a single player in Black Ops 4, which has just been announced, these are the sort of games you should be playing instead. Wolfenstein 2 and the first one, for that matter, just one of the best sort of character-led shooters. Way better stories than they have any right to be. So like, if you missed it the first time around and you have a Switch, I can imagine playing it on the go is a brilliant way to play it.
Definitely. So those are some of the games that are coming out in June, Mike. If you could play only one, which would you pick?
I would say probably Vampyr.
Vampyr over The Crew 2.
That's the one I'm talking about. I really am super looking forward to The Crew 2, but it is a bit more of a known quantity. Vampyr, I'm super curious to see whether they can pull off.
To see if they've got it right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 T-Rex claws crossed for Jurassic World Evolution.
If it did that, it died.
Yeah, new research suggests it couldn't cross it. Anyway, if you can think of any games that are coming out in June that we've missed, then drop a note in the comments to help fellow YouTube travellers find out what's coming out this month. And thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time.